Auburn University Marching Band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the speed metal kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Wednesday night is back, and that means it's time for Auburn Family Night. This is the show every week at E2C Network where you, the Auburn family, take center stage. We're going to take your comments and questions and topics, and of course, your calls. All that's coming up right now. Let's get into the Auburn experience. War Eagle, everybody, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about and share that Auburn experience. The Auburn experience to us is about a few things: Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, might be if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to be doing this evening on another edition of Auburn Family Night, which is always a great time to get together each and every week. You, the Auburn family, are the stars of the show today. So we want you to go ahead and start the show off as the stars of the show. Go ahead and announce your presence. Let us know that you are here, whether you're watching live or on the replay. We always love for you to tell us where you're checking in from. So many of you are so faithful in doing that at the very start of the show, and we really appreciate that very much. And don't be shy. Jump on into the chat and spend some time with us this morning. Smash that like button so that you can help share the experience with others as well. Now, Auburn Family Night, as always, is brought to you by our friends at barnersupply.com. Now, I have obviously been talking about them for a while now, and obviously you know how much I have an affinity towards them. I love their concept of seizing the Barner mentality, taking that away from the Bammers out there. You can see their logo down there in the bottom of the screen. I'm wearing some of their gear tonight with one of their other designs, and they've even got the classic barn out there. Barner Supply Co. or barnersupply.com is what you want to visit, and make sure you use that. If you want to, I believe the code is still good. I need to double check with him, but if you use the code E2C, you can get it on certain hats like this one with the it could be I know it's for the logo down there in the bar. Give it a try, and you might get a little bit of percentage off on that. I need to double check on that one tonight. But barnersupply.com, we thank them for sponsoring each and every Auburn Family Night during the summer, as they've been so faithful to do so. The phone lines are now going to be open. We are going to take calls, questions, and comments. Obviously, you can participate in the chat as much as you'd like to tonight. That's the easiest way to do this and take part in the live portion of this show. But we'd really love to hear from some of you all tonight. Let us know if you need help getting in on there. It's very easy. You just click the link at the top of the chat. If you do that, you can choose to be on camera or off camera, and we'll get rolling from there. It's pretty simple. I don't bite. I know it's a little bit intimidating, but do take advantage of that this evening if you would like to, and we'll start taking calls in just a little bit. But it's open now for you to start utilizing. That's there for you. The chat's there for you. Let me give you some things to think about as we get gearing up here and we get rolling with this evening's show. Obviously, this is really about what you all want to discuss. We usually put a little topic out there as our title header, and there are plenty of things that we could roll through this evening. Some of those being, as the title says, this is the end of the Auburn athletic calendar year. Now, technically, it was this weekend, but this is the first time we've gotten together on Auburn Family Night to discuss it. So it is complete. 2024-25 athletic calendar year is kaput, done, in the books, and you can start talking about it and analyze it. And we have done so on the Auburn Experience. So if you find that of interest, make sure you go listen to that episode as well, because we're even putting out snippets from that for each of the fall, the winter, and the spring seasons to kind of recap and put it all into a nice little package for you about what transpired, the big events 2024-25, the athletic calendar. It's sad though, isn't it? It's sad. It's sad that it's officially over, but time moves on and we gear up for another athletic calendar year that'll be here before you know it. Also, big news in the scheduling world for Auburn men's and women's basketball. They have new SEC foes that we can discuss. We don't know the schedules, but we know who they'll be playing this year. That's out there. And then there's a bunch of smattering of other things that I've been discussing on Everett podcast during the week on that somewhat regular audio podcast that we've been doing, the Auburn Experience. If you stay on our TikTok lives, basically, if you're not taking advantage of every aspect of the Auburn Experience with us, you are missing out on something. So let's get going here and roll through that. Talking a little bit about the hats for Barner Supply, as I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Dalton says, glad to see that your love for trucker hats hasn't wavered. Oh, absolutely. And I would be if I had been much more prepared, I would have had the other trucker hat. And I'll be honest with you, of the two that I have from Barner Supply, that one's my favorite. It has the Barner sun, I call it the Rising Sun logo down there in the corner of the thing. I'm a big fan of trucker hats, even with other hats that I have. So I love them. They look good. And as you say, they look good. So check them out, barnersupply.com. We really appreciate what they do. And if you use the links that we provide in the description or on the post, if you're watching on social media, certainly that does help them recognize that we're sending them to you guys and help support us in that way too. Let's see here. Everybody's been checking in and rolling through here. Let's start with Corey. First question this evening. How are you feeling about the basketball SEC schedule? We play Arky twice this upcoming season. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get into it a little bit and discuss what's out there. Austin and I will definitely bring this up on the next episode of the Auburn Experience and maybe dive into a little bit more detail about it. I would, frankly, when someone asks a question, I want to hear some of y'all's responses about it and your impressions of what you think about it. So let's do men's and women's here. Your women's SEC, not schedule, but you know who you'll face. You're going to play at home, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee. Away, Arkansas, Florida, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Missouri, Texas, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt. The only common opponent that you have home and away with in women's basketball is Florida, not even Alabama. That's just wild. Can we just all acknowledge that's just wild that they don't select Alabama permanently as in women's basketball as the regular one that you play home and home every season? I know there are reasons for it, but it just doesn't make sense to me. For the men's basketball team, they announced that today. You have got a bit of a change here. Traditionally, what has happened, and they maintained it last year, you play everybody in the SEC once, but you play 3 opponents twice, home and away. Traditionally for Auburn, that has been locked in at Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss and hasn't really changed, and that was supposedly going to be the plan. Well, let me read you the list, and then we'll go from there for the men. Home games, Kentucky, LSU, South Carolina, Texas, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Alabama, Arkansas, and Ole Miss. Away games, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, Missouri, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Ole Miss. Did you catch what I said at the end of that? Those last 3 that I read on each home and away are your current who you'll play twice. Alabama has always been there. Ole Miss has always been there. They bumped Georgia from twice a year to Arkansas. So let's just tackle it from a few different angles, right? First of all, currently they gave us a more challenging opponent with John Calipari there. You know he's going to get the talent. You know they're going to have decent basketball teams, and they had quite the run in the Final Four. That in of itself is just ridiculous to give that to us, which I maybe it's going to now be on a rotational thing for who you do that with. But to swap Georgia out, why don't you swap Ole Miss out? And keep Georgia and Alabama. Those are our 2 biggest rivals across all sports. What are we doing here? Like, come on. I know that I'm picky about these things, and I'm sure so many of you are as well. But I would love to still see Alabama and Georgia continue to be our regular opponents on basketball twice a year. But for now, it's going to change. Alabama, Arkansas, and Ole Miss are who you'll play twice for men's basketball. And Florida will be the only team that you play twice for women's basketball. So those are your SEC schedules. So what are y'all's thoughts about it? This is just for basketball. Let's hear some impressions about it. We'll come back around to some of y'all post about it. We'll keep rolling through some comments here. Tyler Darby says, what if Auburn versus Alabama for the national championship, if it was possible? Tyler, it is 100% possible. Is it probable? No, though. No, not probable, but it is possible. Now in a day and age where you can be in a playoff bracket, certainly all that has to happen is you be on the opposite side of the bracket of each other and end up in the championship and just win all the games to get you to that point, to get you into the playoff bracket, be on the opposite side, and then make it to the championship game with them. I've often said this, Tyler, that I don't think the world can take an Alabama and Auburn national championship game. Like, I think the world would just implode. Not to be very, I'm trying to censor myself right now. I'm going to censor myself right now. I'm not going to say it. I was going to go with some things with current events, and I'm nope. Kyle, let your conscience be your guide. Let your conscience be your guide. You just came back from that place. Use the saying from there. All right, I'm going to let that one go. Susan says, War Eagle, my grandson attends Auburn University. Go Tigers. I don't know what that's about, but are you saying Susan Susu? Is that what you're just like signifying Susan there? What's your grandson studying? What year is he? Let us know. We'd love to know some information about that and give him a shout out. You can give him a shout out here. That's what this is about. It's Auburn Family Night after all. Corey says, as far as football goes, I don't think we will have a very big commitment list. I think it will be bigger. It'd be a bigger flip season. Show me what you got as a team type of scenario before commit. Yeah, Corey, I know I saw your post in our Discord, and I know you're concerned about, I think, was it Sendarian Morgan, whatever his name is. It tells you how little investment I put in things. I cannot stress this enough, and I know that you're rolling your eyes at me right now when I say this. Don't obsess over these guys that haven't committed yet. Who's going to get here is who's going to get here. Now, you may have a point in terms of that a list may not be built extensively until much later, and it may be a bunch of flips at the end of it. That always makes it more exciting, doesn't it? Who doesn't love a good flip? It's flipping freezing out there. I just, me, I don't really obsess about them or worry about them until they're committed. I just don't see the point in it because you just end up getting disappointed more often than not. But you may be right. You may be onto something there. I know there's been a little bit of chatter as of late about when's the next commitment going to be? Who is it going to be? Is it this person? I lost my interest and desire to follow that closely very, very long time ago. You see where I'm going with the joke? What joke was that? I missed the joke that I made. Maybe it went right over my head too, if I made it. Let's see here. Devontae, what's going on YouTube, says, I have a good feeling that the Auburn night game, about the Auburn night game against Georgia. The street will be covered with Tiger Walk, and the students may line Jordan hair like they do for men's basketball games. Well, to be fair, they line it for football games just as much as they do for basketball games already. But your point stands that when we all saw that time come out for the Auburn-Georgia matchup this year, we all were thinking the same thing. What a great day of college football that is going to be. The tailgating, the lead up to it, the excitement, the energy. Night game in Jordan Hare, 2 storied rivals. It doesn't get much better than that. So we can definitely really get excited about that. I am super excited about that because, let's be honest here. Auburn and Georgia has been more on their side as of late than it has been on the Auburn side of things. Auburn used to be in command of that series for a long time, and they've since lost that, given some recent struggles and things. excuse me, things like that. So you got to feel good about the matchup just being at home, especially since Georgia has really struggled at Jordan-Hare against some teams that they shouldn't have struggled against in recent history. That just shows you that the home field advantage of Jordan-Hare is like none other. And even the best of the best teams with some of the best athletes are going to consider it a nightmare. Certain coaches said it. I didn't say it. So you take it for what it's worth. I think it's a bit of a nightmare for teams to play in a lot too. All right, what else? What else is on y'all's minds? Don't be shy. Jump on into the chat. Let's get rolling here. About 15 minutes into the show. What do y'all want to discuss? Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. It doesn't even have to be current events. It can just be a random topic. Reminder, as always, to visit our friends at barnersupply.com. Again, if you like that hat, if you like that logo, barnersupply.com. They're sponsoring Auburn Family Night this summer for us, and we really appreciate that. Links are in the profile and in the description and everywhere else. If you need the link, send it. I'll send it to you. That way you can have ease of access to that. Unbeaten Lake says, let me pull it up. That would be the smart thing to do, Kyle. The new video board is nice, but I wish I got to sit underneath the old one during a massive downpour. I do remember that. That was kind of one of those safe little spaces to some extent when it wasn't a thunder and lightning storm, but it certainly provided a shocking and surprising way to get out of the sun in certain, not really from that angle, but from the weather. I haven't really looked at what the hangover effect of the new board will be. I don't think it is. I think it's a little bit more pushed back. It's definitely higher. So even if you could get underneath it, by the time the rain shifts around, it will fall down upon you. So it really doesn't matter. I think there's a lot of reasons, Unbeaten Lake, that we will miss the old not video board, but scoreboard. One of those for you might be the getting out of the downpour, but it's just such an old nostalgia feel, a tie to a bygone era. It's sad. It really is sad that it's gone, but time moves on. This isn't a museum, and we got to get rolling with updating Jordan-Hare. And this is just the first phase, which has basically been said by them and my belief of what's to come for renovations for Jordan-Hare Stadium. Corey says, no way they would do an Iron Bowl Natty game. Only people who would want to watch it is people who are in the South. The rest of the nation would be alienated because their football is trash. But if that's the case, then that means all the people that you need are here in the South, right? So I think what you're implying is they'd never allow it to happen. But it won't matter if we just go out there and win the football games and get out there. I think the odds of it happening are so minuscule, but at least we know it's a possibility now. What is interesting to think about, Corey, is if that does happen, Auburn and Alabama were to play in the national title, there is a chance, the way things are set up now, that Auburn and Alabama somewhere in the future could play 3 times in the same year. They could play in their traditional rivalry game. They could play, if they're still the top 2 teams in the SEC, for the SEC championship game. And then they could play for the national title. Imagine that. And imagine if one won the rivalry game, one won the SEC championship, and then they played out for the ultimate bragging rights of Natty and of the season. The world will just implode, and it'll be a beautiful explosion or implosion, whichever you want it to be. But very likely or unlikely to happen. Devontae believes that the Georgia game probably will be on ABC. What channel would you predict? It feels like that's got to be pretty easily set up for that. I don't know what else is on that week off the top of my head, so that is going to be a determining factor. If it's the best game of the entire weekend, no matter what, then yeah, I think ABC will push it over to, to its channel, or ESPN will push it over to ABC. But it'll either be that or prime time on ESPN. It won't be SEC Network. I think, frankly, Auburn would have had to have tanked for it to get pushed to SEC Network. But, I've been wrong before. ABC, you're probably not far off from that, Devontae. Let's be honest. It feels like it's easily set up for that. I'm so excited for that. And let me point all this out to you too. Let me go to the schedule just to reference it here too. Auburn football schedule. So here we have it. Obviously, Baylor, home for Ball State, home for South Alabama, go out to Oklahoma, out to Texas A&M, and then you've got a bye week. So you've been gone on this very hot, long away trip out into the west of the SEC, literally out into the west. Then you've got a bye week to settle in and prepare, and then you come back for almost pretty much the middle of October, rivalry game, night game. If it's not a crisp 55 degrees in the morning, I'm going to be disappointed. But I am betting we're going to be getting that first just hint of fall air where it's going to be warm, when we're at Tiger Walk before kickoff, right about kickoff. But as that sun starts going down over the horizon and over the stadium and that football game gets going, we are going to be just pristine football weather, rivalry weather. It's all going to be good. What game are you thinking of for game day this year? That if we were to get college game day is what you're asking, Corey. That feels like the best one, right? I think that the easy answer is always going to be the rivalry games. Auburn and LSU were a sneaky good option to be a college game day event from time to time, but I don't remember how many times that actually happened. But I think your best bet's looking at the schedule right now, anticipating who is going to be good, especially if you're wanting it at Auburn. That Georgia game seems like the most likely option. The Alabama game would be the second. Kentucky and Missouri, we don't anticipate them being that great of games or that great of opponents. Maybe we won't be either. So I just doubt that. Your next best candidate is going to be a road game. We know it's not going to be Auburn Baylor because that's already been determined. I believe what their first week is, or week 1 is, not week 0. Maybe Auburn going to Oklahoma for the first time, but that depends on what else is going on that week too. So I think it's pretty clear the stars are aligned for it to happen. If Auburn can have a great start to the year, if Auburn can show that it is making strides in that area, and then Georgia looks legit as they tend to appear these days, you could find the makings of a very fun already day of tailgating in a very first whiff of fall air. But throw college game day on top of that. Whoo! Oh, man, we would be so blessed. We would be so blessed. Let's see here. Unbeaten Lake says it's odd to think ESPN's top commentary crew has not called an Auburn home game in 15 years, which was the 2010 Clemson game. A home game. That feels weird. That does feel weird. That feels incorrect. Are we 100% sure on that, Unbeaten Lake? So I'm guessing you mean Brad Nessler, and not Brad Ness. Well, I guess that used to be him. Reese Davis. No, not Reese Davis. Who am I thinking of? Who would be their top ones? Kirk Herbstreit and his partner. What's his name? Completely blanking on it right now. But if that's who you're talking about, maybe you're correct. Thomas says fall in Alabama is my favorite week of the year. Across the deep South, fall is just awesome because it is the one season where, for the most part, you kind of get a slow transition into one and the other. It'll pop back up to being warm, but then you'll get a nice little cold snap, and then it'll pop back again. But it's not like these drastic swings like you get in the spring, or really even in the summer, because like it's spring for a second, then it's sun. Hello, it's really hot, raining all the time. Oh, so much rain lately. Can we please, whoever did the rain dance and whoever prayed for rain, I got to ask you why. Why have you done this to me? I'm so tired of rain. My wife is so tired of hearing me complain about it. Please, y'all, whatever y'all doing to make the rain happen, just don't stop it now, please. But anyway, I went on that rant when all Thomas was trying to say that fall in Alabama is a beautiful place to be. If we are undefeated going to Georgia game, that's where game day will be. Count on it. Thomas is throwing out the prediction. Can we be honest? It doesn't feel like the biggest prediction, but it has to happen, that we're undefeated. How about this? Let's do a poll of the room. We got a good crowd here, already assembled, interactive crowd. I'd like to get a poll of the room. I would like you to post right now in the comments your percentage confidence that Auburn will go undefeated into the Georgia game. If you need context, which is always important, at Baylor, home versus Ball State, home versus South Alabama, at Oklahoma, at Texas A&M, bye week. Then it's Georgia. What is your percentage confidence? Just put your number and your percentage sign, whatever, in the chat right now that Auburn goes undefeated into Georgia, securing what Thomas is calling for here, if Auburn's undefeated, a college game day appearance. What do you think about that? Let's see what you guys think in the chat. Rodney, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for being here, checking in from Bruton, Alabama. Devontae says it would be awesome for college game day and SEC Nation both to be in Auburn. They did that for the Iron Bowl one year, so it's not unheard of. Maybe they'll do it again in the future. We've got y'all are like riding the fence so hard, 50%. 50%. Take a chance, man. Take a chance. Give me something more than 50%. That's fine if that's what you believe it's going to be. I'm going to go. I think it's about 30% chance that Auburn goes undefeated during that stretch. I would be very, very shocked if they did. Right now, where I'm sitting right now. We've got our caller getting ready, so we'll take them in just a second. You guys can use the phone lines too. Let's see here. Chris Fowler and Kurt Herbstreit. Why could I not come up with Chris Fowler's name? There's something wrong with me, guys. 2010 was Brent Musburger and Herbstreit. I'm just getting everybody all confuffled there. I hope we pick up Florida and South Carolina next year. Would love to see Auburn play Florida in person. Now listen, Corey, I'm gonna star your comment and come back to it because we're gonna take our caller. But I think your comment will spark another conversation here in just a little bit. Corey also said you can drop a poll over the chat window, but 40%. Can I really? Where do you do that at? No. Share your referral. You can. That's the different thing there. I don't know how to do that on my application. Rodney. You're too kind. You're too awesome. And too kind and too generous. Thank you so much for that very nice super chat there. That is very much appreciated, sir. Not necessary whatsoever, but we appreciate you helping keep the lights on here at E2C Network. You're very, very kind, sir. All right, let's get our first caller in this evening and talk to them a little bit and see what's on their mind. And I think he's already ready to go, so let's get him in here. What's up, Kevin?
War Eagle.
War Eagle, how you doing, buddy?
Fine. I got number 23 jersey on.
So Jeremiah Cobb, is that who we're repping tonight?
Yeah.
Or I would say you're repping Ronnie Brown. What about that? You think should you be repping?
Yeah, Ronnie Brown and Cadillac.
And Cadillac, but he wore 24 though, so you gotta.
He's good.
Oh, listen, I'm not gonna argue with you that none of them are bad in any way, so I won't argue with you there.
Hey, I got a question for you.
What's your question?
Who's your favorite player on the defense all time?
All time?
It's Tequila Spot.
For you?
Jeff, Nick Fairley. Okay. No, for you.
Oh, for
not me.
Well, it sounds like you're naming them for me, like telling me who I need to pick. All-time defender for me.
Derek Brown.
Favorite. So I have to pick from those. I can't pick somebody else.
You can pick somebody else.
I'm going to be honest with you here. and you're going to be a little bit shocked at this, I would pick Deshaun Davis. Do you remember him?
Deshaun
57?
Davis. Woo!
Well, he's excited about it. Look, it even froze him on the camera for a second because he was so excited about that pick. I love me some Deshaun Davis. He's one of my sons.
Hey,
Football's up here too.
is he coaching anywhere?
I believe he's coaching not too far away from Auburn. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe someone in the chat knows off the top of their head. But yes, I love Deshaun Davis because
Me too. I met him in person.
yeah, I got to shake a hand, so I don't know that he would remember me from Adam, but I
Like
would
Tiger
say
Walk.
Tiger Walk's a good place to meet people. I followed his recruitment very closely. If you remember, he got injured for his senior year, wasn't able to play, but Auburn.
Oh, he got hurt.
Yeah, he did, and so he kind of suffered a little bit in his recruiting because people were like, I don't want to pick him up because he's hurt, but he ended up being one of the best SEC linebackers during his time there. Obviously, a great leader. I think he obviously exuded a lot of leadership, and I really value him as a player and a person.
Who do you think will lead them in sacks this year?
It feels like the easy answer is Keldrick Falk, right?
Kendrick Falk, number 15.
Yes. So that would probably be my easy, but also the answer that I think is going to be most correct. I think our linebacker group is a little bit of a question mark right now, not because there's not going to be good, but just because there's a lot of young and new faces that are going to be playing there this year. So I don't really feel confident picking anybody from there. So I'll go Keldrick.
Did we keep Devin Williams?
Devin Williams, the cornerback. I don't remember off the top.
I think
of my head.
He shut his recruitment down.
Okay.
He's what's the word? He's sticking with Auburn.
Sticking with Auburn. Okay. Well, that sounds good. Obviously, nothing's for sure until they sign on the dotted line. And these days, they're that matter. But we'll see.
This past weekend, somebody was on the plains. His name is Brian Walmack.
Well, it feels like every single week they're having somebody there. They're having a lot of visits and official visits now. So you're going to see a lot of people rolling through.
His sister plays softball at Auburn.
Well, that's a really good. You know, we love our family connections here at Auburn. So
yeah.
If we can make that work out, that would be a brilliant thing to do. You know, the Falk brothers play together now. Jacaleb Falk and Keldrick Falk.
Yeah, and that guy named Deuce Knight is our recruiter.
That guy? You mean just everybody's favorite
Deuce Knight
quarterback? Yes, I wouldn't call him that guy. I would call him Deuce Knight.
He was talking to London Duckworth.
We'll see, yeah.
London Duckworth said Auburn's the top two teams.
Yeah, I see a lot of that stuff this time of year, especially. I don't really get too excited myself about high schoolers making lists. They do love the attention it gets them, and so I just kind of wait till they make the decision, and then I start.
And somebody is making a decision on July 2nd.
Yeah, I have no clue who that would be, so you'd have to help me with that. But let's move from like this perspective college stuff. So what do you think about you're a basketball fan, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about Auburn basketball not playing Georgia twice every year now? You think that's wrong?
We ain't playing Georgia?
Well, we're going to play Georgia one time, but we're not going to play them twice. So traditionally, I don't know if you were watching during this, they released their SEC opponents. You're going to play Alabama, Ole Miss, and Arkansas twice in basketball season this year.
Oh, my.
Look, he said, oh, my. Doesn't that feel wrong that we're not playing Georgia twice?
I hope this be a rumor that
it
says Bruce Pearl is leaving Auburn.
Oh, wait. listen, here things that I will check again real quick. Where are you seeing that at?
It says 2026.
Well, how about this? I don't know anything that
It's
is
a rumor going on.
Yeah, well, here's the great thing about rumors, Kevin. Most of the stuff you see on social media is pretty much half truth, so I wouldn't buy a lot of stock in it. And when Bruce will announce when he wants to do something different, he's got still a few years on his contract.
They should be really good next season.
It looks like they will be. He's always had a good track record of picking up guys. All right, so I want to leave you with this. I asked the room to predict this. Auburn is going to play Georgia for that night game in football for 2025. As your last prediction, I want from you how confident, like percentage confidence, all the way up to 100%, that Auburn will be undefeated for that Georgia game. What's your prediction?
They will be undefeated.
So 100%, Kevin says.
And they will beat Georgia and Jordan Hare.
Well, you have never lacked confidence and optimism once, and so I don't know why I would ever doubt that you would have that for that particular thing. But we'll see if it happens. Everybody else seems a little bit more cautious.
And I think
we need to be a little bit more like you.
I think Cam Coleman will have more touchdowns than Perry Thompson and Bryce Kane and Michael Simmons and Eric Singletary.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? Very, very soon. It'll be here before you know it. Kevin, it is
how many weeks?
What's that?
How many weeks until we start?
I cannot remember off the top of my head. I think we're sitting at 72 days. So that is.
Oh, my.
He said, oh, my, again. It's still a bit of a ways to go. So settle in, buddy. Hey, it's always good to talk to you, my friend. Thanks for
calling the baseball team will do good, too.
I believe you fully. I've never doubted it once. So thank you for always reminding us that we need to be optimistic about that, Kevin.
Hey, when does volleyball start? Is it already started?
I don't think they've announced it yet, but we will certainly update you on our social media as soon as they're able to do it.
Okay, War Eagle.
All right.
See you next.
Good to hear from you.
Next week. Bye.
We'll see you next week. That was Kevin, one of our regulars. You can call in too. Take advantage of our call-in link. It is at the top of the chat. If you are on Facebook, it should be there at the top, not pinned, but you'd have to scroll up there to access it. Twitter, X, sorry, folks, you'd have to come over here to utilize it. But we'd love to hear from some of you guys. So calling into the show, and don't be shy. Ooh, looks like we got our next caller rolling in, so we'll say hello to them in just a second. So stand by for that. Let's check in with what you guys were saying while we were talking to Kevin. Corey reminding that the person that he was referring to, Cedarius Morgan, on the 2nd. Kevin said he's from Alexander City. Yeah, I think there's a lot of interest around him. A lot of people are, I think, unfortunately, putting a lot of their hopes in the recruiting things a little bit too much in one person. I think a big storyline certainly is when you've got someone in your backyard that you should make it a heavy priority to make sure they stay home. So we'll see if that happens. And if it doesn't, always remember that they've got a full recruiting cycle to go before they can assign on the dotted line. And even after that, they might transfer in. Who knows? I also saw you sent me some links, Corey. I think those links are going to be probably for the YouTube side. I don't know unless you sent me a StreamYard, like how to send a poll, because I do it from a different application, but I'll definitely take a look at those a little bit later. 67 days, I believe, till we kick off. It should be 72. Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure it's 72, 71, 72, something like that. Maybe I'm wrong, Thomas. All right, let's talk to our next caller here and say hello to them. Mr. Devontae Ross, what's going on, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good to hear from you, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much.
How you doing, man? What's up? What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I've been sharing this to myself, but I haven't shared to none of the Auburn fans quite yet about coming up to the Auburn Georgia game on that Saturday night.
Uh-huh. So you're
Yeah,
already planning to get a ticket for that and be there.
yeah, I'm a season ticket holder. I'm coming up to my 5th year. It could have been my 6th year, but 2020 I had to back off of that one due to COVID.
Right, right. And a lot of people had to make that decision. I don't even think they even gave out that many because, remember they had to space everything out that year. And that was a weird year. It's the first year in a long time I wasn't able to go to a single Auburn football game. But thankfully, we're not in that time anymore. So you're getting geared up and ready for that Georgia game, it sounds like.
Yes, but foremost, I'm looking forward to the season. Hopefully, it might be better since so I have a good feeling about this team. So they've been working very hard, and especially for the especially what they did at 8A practice.
Uh-huh. So what did you like at 8A practice? Like, what did you see that started building that belief and hope that you have that this is going to be a better year than last year at the very least?
Well, the wide receivers got them a couple of quarterbacks,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
My man Perry Thompson making them plays, and Cam Coburn making plays.
Yeah. Yeah. Perry
And I remember
certainly showed out
speaking of
during
Cam,
spring practice. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I agree with you. Perry seemed to have such a great practice as a whole, but also a day as well. Um, I think it would be nice to see. They kind of talked about those guys, the freeze four, or as I like to think about the four horsemen of the apocalypse: Cam, Perry Thompson, Bryce Kane, and Malcolm Simmons. We've seen two of them really come to fruition. It feels like it's Perry's time. I'd like to see Bryce Kane come along too. But I mean, 2 out of 4 ain't bad thus far to already hit on out of a group of 4 that was very highly thought of. And hopefully it'll be more and more this season.
I agree. But before I end this, would you like to hear a story that I wanted to tell the Auburn fan, what I should have said in the first place?
Sure, go ahead.
Um, I experienced something in 2022 and 2025 during the basketball season, like 2022 against Kentucky and 2025 against Tennessee for those students.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the stu Yeah, I remember that Friday night those students they pitched the tent outside of Neville Arena,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next morning they started they broke their tents down, they started lining up the arena to get ready for that big basketball game against the Kentucky Wildcats.
Mm-hmm.
And then earlier this year when Auburn had a basketball game against Tennessee and ESPN College game, they were in town, but the students couldn't pitch a tent because it was too cold outside.
Yep.
So it was too cold outside. So and I just saw they were already lined up and they were trying to run inside. They were trying to run
Mm-hmm.
inside Neville Arena about 3 hours before ESPN College game day started.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
they came back, and then when that's over, and then let's say I think a few hours before that big basketball game against Tennessee, they were lined up all ready to rock the jungle during that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how cool it would be how cool it would be if though like you said in my comment once, how cool it would be if the students lined up outside Jordan Hare Stadium, and then I would tell the Auburn I would ask Auburn University if if the line gets too long to get ready for that big matchup against Georgia,
Yeah.
I would tell them get them inside Jordan Hare Stadium, but make them stay in the concourse and don't open the bowl until the certain time they usually get them in.
Mm. I love the idea of this. What I'm trying to think about is, and you kind of talked about it, there's going to be probably some logistical things there that are a little bit more challenging to pull off. I frankly wish that we camped out like they did for the basketball teams. Now, we didn't really have much to camp out for when I was a student there.
And
So, we won't go into that. That's just depressing. But I love this idea of camping out. I will tell you, Devontae, that I had just graduated, and for the Kick Six, a bunch of fans and students did camp out outside the gate for that game, and so that kind of happened naturally, and that's how that whole camp out thing started. Years ago, as you talked about, it was just kind of a natural thing. So I think maybe it's probably not something that we can get the university or the athletic department to like openly support and promote. But if you can get the right leaders in the student body to kind of say, hey, we're doing this. We do this for basketball. Let's do this for football. You might have something there. So it's not, I don't hate the idea of it, Devontae.
But actually, I know it's gonna be kind of hard for them to do that, that's what I was gonna say, to omit the camping out, because and just
Yeah.
line up a few hours early to get inside.
Yeah. They traditionally open the gates for them at 2 hours, right when Tiger Walk starts. So they never get to do Tiger Walk if they do that. Now, when I was a student, we kind of gauged it on the game that it was when we went to the gates. So you do have some students that will naturally start lining up. I'm going to bet, Devontae, that Georgia game, let's just play the what if game. Let's say Auburn's undefeated. I bet you're going to have students lined up in the morning time, and the game's it's a night game, so it'll be like either 6 or 7, something like that, 7 or 8. I forget which one it is. I bet we're going to see Auburn students lining up, like, and it kind of reminiscent of that basketball morning you talked about against Tennessee, probably in the wee hours of the morning and getting ready to get in there, because it's going to be such a exciting time to be playing Georgia at night. And you've already and you don't have to worry about that, though. You've got your season ticket lined up, so you're ready to roll.
And the Georgia game is not the only game I was thinking about. Then the other game I was looking into is the Iron Bowl.
Yes, that would be a good one too. That would be a good, but then you got to worry about some of the Bama fans that come into town and messing with our students lining up and things like that. The same thing can happen with the Georgia fans. You ever seen them bark at grown men barking at others in public? It's just wild to me. Anything else tonight on your mind that you wanted to talk about?
Maybe next time. Y'all have a good night now, Kyle.
All right, Devontae, thank you so much for calling in, buddy. Good to hear from you. All right, that was Devontae. We will have another caller in here in just a second. So we'll get him in just a minute here. Real quick, want to remind you of our friends at barnersupply.com. That logo down there. Other great designs, other great things. I've made a video for them that we're going to put out, a little reel of the box they made for us, so you can see some of the other gear that they have with some of their logos and designs on them. We appreciate them once again sponsoring and making Auburn Family Night possible this summer. It's been great to partner with them. And great Auburn company. A couple other things maybe that were said in here. Let's see if I missed anything. Okay, I had it not right. It's 72 days, 67 till the season starts officially. It's speaking of that. Here he is right now. Let's get him in. What's going on, Thomas?
What's up, y'all?
I caught you off guard. I saw you looking over there. I was like, I'm gonna catch him off guard when he wasn't ready.
Hey, look, man, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
That's right. Get ready, set, go. Get ready. You know, it's just like
right.
That snap's gonna come at any point. You got to be on your toes. You know this.
Exactly, man. How y'all doing this evening?
I'm doing well. It's been good. We had some great callers already this evening, so you got a lot to live up to.
Don't we all?
Yes, sweet. What's on your mind?
Man, I'm just excited for football to start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm excited for fall practice to get going. I'm excited to kind of get a little bit more of a solidified view of who's going to be where. I saw some predictions of who's going to be starting here, who's going to be starting there. We don't really know anything yet, but from what the predictions look like, I like it. Yep. I like Mason Murphy at right tackle. I don't dislike Too Tall at all. Sorry to rhyme there, but no, I do like Mason Murphy just because played a lot of games at some different positions, played against some good competition. But I'm just fired up and ready for the season to start, man. I'm ready. Right. I'm ready for football.
Yes, man. Listen, we're kind of in that weird spot that is always just the worst, because we know in July the SEC Media Days is coming, and then once that arrives, you know you've got a minimum, like just a week or two before practices start, and that's exciting for about a week, and then that's kind of like, all right, let's play football now. So you got a couple weeks to get to the season starts. So we're in that last stretch of baseball is ended, and so everybody who was paying attention to that is checked out of that. Everybody's going on vacations and stuff. We're in that last little period, man. It's almost here, so just hunker down, settle in. It'll be there before you know it, baby. Get excited though.
It's hard because like media days, I don't want to watch it, but I need to watch it because it gives me that placebo going into football season. Like, here we go, finally, and it's a lot of blowing smoke. To be honest with y'all, like it is. It's you got to go up there and do your coach speak and introductions, and you got players doing interviews, and it's just kind of it's a placebo, really, it is. But after that, like you said, that's when it gets down to the nitty gritty of let's go, let's plan the menu for the first weekend of the football season. Let's figure out who's coming to the house, who's going to the game, what time is each game on, what are we watching, how many TVs do we need? Like,
Yep. But it sounds like Devontae's already jazzed up for this Georgia game, as you should be. Everybody should be. So it sounds like you need to go ahead and plan, Thomas, to come. Even if you don't got a ticket, just come spend the whole day in Auburn tailgating, set you up something, and enjoy just being around. I'm telling you, if that weather hits just right for that Georgia game, we're in for just something special. College football Saturday in Jordan-Hare, especially if they play it, because I think the nighttime window, now that I'm thinking about, is 7 to 8. If they do it at 8, I know that's a little late for most people, but that's a full day of just enjoying maybe some great weather and tailgating and other games going on, and then Tiger Walk. And it doesn't get better than that.
So basically, you're telling me I need like a rolling office chair and a cooler and some snacks, and I'm good.
You need to bring yourself. That's what you need, and whatever else you can carry, bring with you. That's on you. But I'm not even preaching to you. I'm preaching to everybody. I think sometimes we forget how much fun it is to be in the atmosphere of it all and the pageantry of it all, and that's why I do what I do. Trust me, it is so much easier, much less hassle. I have much more comfort to stay at home on those away games, especially too, and just watch it on the TV on my nice, it looks just about as good as being in person. But there is something about being there amongst it all, especially if it's your place. So that's my pitch to everybody. Make an effort, come out. And if you're going to, even if you can't come to a game, that Georgia game right now, monitor that weather. If that weather hits, you need to be in Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah, there's nothing better than walking around campus for a couple of hours before a game to just feel that atmosphere, and you can feel that anticipation start building up. And then when even if you don't have a ticket, you can see the flow of people heading one direction, and it's through Jordan-Hare.
Yep.
And that's a beautiful thing when the whole spirit of the university is being sucked into one environment, and you can feel it. That's real.
Preach on that.
Man, like you get it at every school, but it's different at Auburn because we believe it, we love it, we're Auburn fans. But even I remember being there in 2005. We were opening game. Washington State was there, and watching their fans start looking around when everybody got up and just started heading one direction. They're going,
it's like, what's going on?
like, it's the game doesn't kick off for 3 hours. Well, buddy, we on the way.
Yeah,
we about to get in there, get in our seats, get some nachos and Dasani water, stretch out a little bit because we're going to be jumping around because we're probably about to just drag y'all because you're Washington State. At that time we did.
Yes.
But like I met one of Washington State's defensive linemen's dads there, and he told me it was the best college football environment he had ever been in. Yeah. Everybody was nice. He had a great time. People kept trying to shove food at him, and he couldn't eat anymore. But their fans had a great time at our house.
Yeah.
And that speaks to the Auburn family and the Auburn spirit. Yeah. And there's just something about it that's different. I'm going to be a homer here for a second. I think we're better. I'm sure most of y'all would agree we've got the best environment in college football. And there's just something special about being in Auburn, Alabama on a Saturday night.
It is. It's real, and what day, night, whatever, it's special. But certainly when you've got that buildup that we've been talking about towards just a great game, a great matchup, a rivalry that's got something extra on top of it, weather, and maybe there's a great slate of games that day. October always feels like it's just the best time for college football anyway, with the matchups that tend to happen. You're solidly in conference play for everybody, and so you're getting every week, it feels like, at least one really good matchup, especially amongst the SEC, the Big Ten, sometimes the Big 12. Man, we're daydreaming right now, and it's going to carry us over to it's going to carry us through the last few days of summer where there's really nothing to focus on, things like that. Let me ask you this. Any opinions about who you would like to see represent Auburn at SEC Media Days? Now, I'm going to take one away from you because he was there last year. That's Keldrick Falk. That's the easy answer. It is the correct answer, but they don't traditionally send someone 2 years in a row, much less a repeat. So it may be a tough question to answer, but anybody at the top of your mind that if you got at least one, maybe up to three, they usually send for SEC Media Days?
I'll give you three and an alternate.
I think I know. You give me your top one, and I'm about to say it with you. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Connor
Lew. We did it. Connor Lew. I knew exactly we had a little bit of glitch there on the thing, but I knew exactly who you're going to say. All right, go ahead. I'll let you have your time.
I think Dylan Wade as well, because he's an elder player. He's been there a little while. He's put the time to work in, and he's a big factor for us.
Yeah.
Defensively, there's nobody right now that jumps out to me as like the guy that needs to be at media days, because you can send your best player, but it's a talking point bonanza. Yeah. It's an interview onslaught for these kids. So who's going to be the best guy to go in there and give the right answers, the correct answers, the football speak? Maybe a defensive back, somebody who's played a lot. Other than that, I could see them sending a Cam Coleman, maybe. He's a feature piece of the offense. I could see Jackson Arnold going, even though he's a first-year player, but he's your quarterback. He's the leader. But I would say probably two offensive guys, one defensive guy, but I can't give you all the names. But I definitely think
it's tough. Yeah, I think Connor Lew is a shoo-in. Let's put that there. If you can't, he feels like the next natural leader on the other side of the ball too, because he's been here a while now and he's earned starting time more and more as time has gone on. He's so well thought of. If I could do repeats, I think your perfect pairing is Connor Lew and Keldrick Falk, but I don't think they're going to send him again. I'd like to send Hudson Cack, as I'm going to say it, because I'm not going to get y'all to have me missay it again. So he's quite the character too. He's got a lot of charisma if you watch some of his videos as the punter. But there's some options. But I've given you some topics. What do you want to talk about this evening? Or anything else we haven't talked about?
I just wanted to call in and chime in and tell you all War Eagle.
Well, good. Well, good, buddy. Well, it's always great to hear from you and see you. And I'm ready for you to whip the notebook out and start taking us to school again.
It's about time to start. I actually need a new notebook. This one's only got about 4 sheets left in it. So.
Well, you did a lot of working on it because there were a lot of frustrating things you had to write down last year, and it was a tough year because you and I both have been hoping, praying, wishing that this offensive line will just get it together consistently, please.
It would be nice. It would be nice. And then there was a lot of times I had to cross out stuff because I don't want to be mean to nobody.
Hey, listen, there's you can be constructively critical as long as you got stuff. That's what I can't stand is when someone's just like, I can't stand this. Well, he's good for nothing. Well, then tell me why he's good for nothing. Give me the facts. Give me stacks. And you've never once done that. You've always had good stuff behind that for your criticism. So don't be afraid of that.
That's why there's a lot of crossed out pages, because I couldn't bring them to the table.
Well said, sir. Anything else?
No, man. War Eagle, y'all have a good week.
All right. Good to hear from you, buddy. Thanks for talking to us.
Yes.
Oh, there you are. There you are. That was awkward. I brought him in and out, and I was trying to switch him out, and that was fumble fingers right there. All right. Great calls so far. We're already at 10 o'clock. I traditionally end about this time, but there are a couple of questions that were brought up and topics that I wanted to go back to. So we're not done yet. We ain't done yet, as Trevon Reed would say. So if you got some other topics, questions, comments that you want addressed, put those in the chat right now. I will leave the call line open for those of you that maybe want to give it a try. We had someone else give it a try tonight, so don't be shy. If it's just something you want to call in and test it out, say War Eagle real quick and just wanted to say, hey, this is a good night and a good time to do that. So give it a shot. It'll be open for a few more minutes here. Couple reminders for you before we get back to comments and questions and maybe calls. Things that you want to keep in mind of. If you missed last night with Clint Richardson, the Auburn Uniform Database, you missed a good one. Wild and Crazy Auburn Uniforms. We talked about it. He came up with some again this year. Go check them out. It is just for fun. Please remember that. Go check that out if you haven't done that already. We've got a lot of content out there for you. The best thing you can do for yourself is go to our description or follow us everywhere on social media. And our description here on YouTube is a link tree. It takes you to everything that you could need, all social media that you want to follow, all audio podcasts that you want to follow, all YouTube video stuff. It's got ways to support if you want to be part of our Patreon group and be in our Discord. It's got ways to support those that we're affiliates of, like Barner Supply, like Alumni Hall, several others. Go check all those things out. And if you would like to have more information about any of those things, hit me up, e2cnetwork@gmail.com, and we can certainly talk more about if you need help getting connected or finding out something that we do or don't do. Other than that, our next scheduled live stream, as I always have prepared for you, is going to be this Sunday night. We've got the Auburn Experience, our main podcast, episode 130, already ready to roll. Austin and myself this summer. We'll be back in the saddle together. Go listen to 129. It's out now. And Everett a podcast, which out almost every day during the work week. Phone line's open for just another minute. I'm going to go ahead and take it down, but you can certainly call in if you're on YouTube, especially. That link's up there. Let's take some last minute comments and questions here from you all. Corey said, who will be Arnold's go-to receiver this year or his favorite to chunk it to? However you wish to phrase it. The yards will be stacked this year. I think it's a very simple answer right now. Cam Coleman is the most likely option, only because I think sometimes we as fans are susceptible to apply things that are unrelated to things that are about to happen. What I mean by that, I mean the transitive property of, because Keandre Lambert-Smith spoiled us and we should have gotten another season with him, everybody assumes that Eric Singleton is just going to come in here and be a world beater for us too. And he very well may be. I'm just willing to give the kid some time before I lump that on him. So as even Thomas says here, it's going to be one of those two guys, but we know what Cam Coleman can do. He did it as a freshman. People don't usually get worse. They at least maintain what they've shown before. So at bare minimum, I expect big things out of him if he stays healthy. If we can protect our dang quarterback and produce a good running game, we're going to be able to sling the ball around to all these guys. But I think Cam Coleman is the chunk it up guy, because he showed to be that possession type of guy to go up and get it from someone else, even if it's not a ball that's well thrown. Felix, good to see you, my man. You're getting here on the tail end, but glad you're checking in with us here at the end of the show. And W, what is with this everybody getting here late? What's going on? Both of you checking in at the end of the show. Good to see you guys, though. All right. Corey did bring up a question earlier in the show that I saved. So let me bring this, and we can certainly take a few more comments to round out the show, but I want to at least spend some time on this particular one. He said, I hope we pick up Florida and South Carolina next year. Would love to see Auburn play Florida in person. Yes, I agree 100% with this. But what I wanted to talk about, and I believe y'all heard me discuss this fact before, I think a lot of people need to be prepared for what could be coming very soon, a change in SEC scheduling. You should probably be able to pick up that based off of discussions around the playoffs and certain teams playing 9, or certain conferences playing 9 conference games and us not playing 9 conference games. I think also you've got to think about what's sustainable. There is a desire amongst a lot of fans to see each other more often. Auburn doesn't get to see its more traditional rivals, Tennessee and Florida, obviously including Alabama and Georgia, and even LSU in that. And so that's why we've kind of switched things over the year. So we knew last year that they had a certain schedule and that they were going to flip it, and they confirmed that this year. Whoever you played this year, you're going to play again, just home and away would be different. If that maintains past this year and we don't go to 9 games, you can only have one same game, one rivalry game. Have you prepared yourself for the fact that Auburn and Georgia may not be an every year game? If things don't change, it might not be. Just think about that. Process it. I don't want to have to deal with it. But right now, it seems like it could be a possibility to me. That's just my speculation, not based off of anything else that's like factual or anything like that. How long till we see a season with neither Alabama or Georgia on the schedule? Never for Alabama. I think Georgia is possible. Unless they go to 9 SEC games. Thomas says, I would rather play LSU every year than Georgia. Right now, I think it's easy to feel that way. And just from a helping us out standpoint, yes. But to me, Auburn and Georgia are so connected historically. Historically, just all that kind of stuff built in there. I think we've got to find a way to preserve that game. It's already bad enough that in basketball, we're switching them off of every for the home and away series, only get to play them once. So, everybody's going to have different opinions on it. But I think change is coming, and it will be hard to process for Auburn fans, for the Alabama-Georgia dynamic. Which one can you keep? That's obvious. Alabama fans, Tennessee, Auburn, how you process all that. A lot of change still coming in the college football world. I'd rather play Tennessee than Kentucky every year. We've never played Kentucky every year, except we've done it in this 2-year scheduling cycle. And I think 1 year before that too, if I'm not mistaken. So that was just because of the chance of switching things over. But who knows? We will see very soon. I bet in the middle of the season, they'll announce the 2026 schedule like they did this year. All right, folks. Thanks for hanging out. We spent a little bit of extra time with you this evening, and it's always fun. Had some great callers this evening. We really appreciate you being here, spending some time, being a part of our little family within the Auburn family and spending Auburn family night with us. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.